Every little girl grows up dreaming about her happy ever after, but most of us don't have fairy tale scriptwriters making sure we get it. That's where the Happy Ever After show comes in. If you have been waiting for a fairy godmother to wave her magic wand and release your frustrations, create the prosperity you want, and live a life you love, then listen closely. It's time to learn how to make your own wishes come true with your host, Cassie Parks.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Double Your Business. I feel like I may have, you might be surprised that you're getting this in your iTunes feed or however else you subscribe, because I did say that, it was the last episode of the Double Your Business season. And what I've realized is that there's some more to say on this topic, on the whole thing. So I recorded that episode. This is a little thing that I do that really, this speeds up my business. So I'll just give you this little hint. I always, or try as much as possible, to get as much done in chunks as I can. So I recorded the Double Your Business season, really. I wrote it all out in Italy, and then I came home and I recorded it in a couple days. And that was like a month ago or so, or a couple months ago actually. And I do that because it makes my world easier. If I can focus on a task and move on to the other task. That's the same way that I write books. And I think I'm going to do a whole show on if you should write a book and how to do it and all that good stuff. So just letting you know, there will be more episodes coming up. If it feels like I need a break, I do what feels good and I'm going to take it. So, but while there's things to say and I'm having a really good time and I'm hearing from all of you how much you're enjoying it, I'm going to share. So I'm excited. Thank you for listening. I know you're here because you want to double your business without doubling your hours so that you can actually enjoy the life that you've built. And today we're going to talk about how to focus on what to focus on to get you there. So we've talked a lot about in terms of the double your business process. You've listened to all 13 episodes probably at this point. You know that process, and it's all about clarity, and it's all about becoming super clear in what you focus on. And so I just wanted to share something really exciting with me, and this ties into our topic today. I Double Your Business went to number one on all of Amazon multiple times during the first 5 days that it was out, which is so exciting. And I just want to say a huge thank you to everybody who downloaded the book during those first 5 days. If you haven't downloaded it yet, obviously you can go to Amazon.com and just type in Double Your Business. If you're in another country, just go to your Amazon and type in the search Double Your Business. And as well, if you haven't watched the 4-part video series, you can go to doubleyourbusinesswithcassie.com and check out the video series, which goes through a lot of the same stuff in a different way, because I'm a believer that we all take in information different ways, and it's good to hear it multiple times, multiple ways. So I created that video course, and I created it in Tuscany, so it's beautiful. Just the background, I think I recorded most of it under the orange trees, which there was this little place with these beautiful orange trees. So a special love for that video series because it's so beautiful and it reminds me of Tuscany. So you can go to Double Your Business with Cassie and grab that if you are so inclined. And as always, thank you for downloading the book. If you haven't downloaded it yet, I would love if you went to Amazon and you just grabbed it. And if you have got it, if you want, leave a review if that feels good. I'd love that too. So I love reading reviews because people, sometimes you guys don't email me. Feel free to email me like I did this or, whatever after reading the book. But in the reviews, I get to see a lot of times, the changes that people have made, which is really fun. So the question of the hour, and I wanted to talk about this because I got this question in my Manifest 10K course. Somebody was talking about manifesting. And she asked, Cassie, you went to number one on Amazon, and I'm really curious. And I'm guessing, she was totally guessing that I had visualized, I had been in my feelings about number one, meaning like I was feeling how it would feel number one and all of that before it happened. And so I thought this was a great topic because this ties so much into clarity and focus in what we do. And the answer might shock you. I didn't visualize number one. I didn't think about it. It wasn't on my radar. It's not something that's been on my vision board as like number one. And the reason is that whether I get to number one or not on Amazon, or even in a bigger sense, now Double Your Business, got some exciting news coming up with that, but Manifest 10,000, my book that is coming out in bookstores in May, which has a New York publishing deal, like now it's in the place where it can hit the New York Times Bestseller List. And while that would be amazing, and I would absolutely love it and celebrate the heck out of it, just like I did like getting on Amazon number one, that isn't entirely, it's important, it's a cool thing to go for, but it's, in my mind, it's only a cool thing to go for if it's surrounded by the life that I want. Because if I get focused on that, I'm going to tell you a story about how I did get focused on something similar and I didn't get what I wanted because I was focused on the wrong thing. So I think I'll talk about that right now, and then we'll come back to sort of, how New York Times bestseller, Amazon number one bestseller fits into all that. So this was 2009, which was a few years ago, more than a few years ago. I wanted to be a speaker, and that's what I wanted to do, right? And looking back, I wasn't even clear about that, but I thought that's how you got successful. So anyway, in my total non-clarity, just really like what I wanted at that time was to not have to go to work. I wanted to create a business that meant I didn't have to go to work. And when I did that, when that was the focus, not going to work, you guys have probably heard me talk about this a little bit. Like the focusing on what you don't want, trying to make something happen so that you're not doing something that you don't want is not super effective. So anyway, that's what I was doing, and this is the place I was in, and it's how I learned, right? So I'm cool with it. So I wanted to be a speaker, and the thing that I took away from everything that everybody said, everything I listened to and heard about being a speaker was that you needed a book. Like if you want to be a speaker, you need a book because you need to sell it. It's like a business, you need to sell it at the end. It's like a business card, and that's how you're, going to make money or get clients. Actually, I'm not even sure I was clear about that. All I knew is like that if you wanted to be a speaker, you were supposed to have a book. Like that was the message I got. Like from every speaking thing I'd ever been to. And so when I was studying, and trying to learn how do you become a speaker, that was the thing I got. Is like, you need a book. I'm like, okay. So I manifested this speaking gig. Like I got to speak at this conference, and I think it was called Open to Possibilities. And I was like, awesome. But it was less than a month. I kind of think it was 2 weeks, but it was less than a month before I was going to be on stage, right? And I knew like I needed the book. So I went to work and I wrote the book, and I found a self-publishing printer, and I self-published the book. I love that book. It kind of looks, it's not as pretty as my other books, I will say, but I got it done, right? I wrote it. I wrote it on my lunch breaks at work, and I had my friend at work who's a really good editor. Like she edited it, and she, guided it as well. And, it was short, and I got it done, right? And I went to the speaking gig, and I didn't actually know how to be a speaker yet. So while I think I gave a great talk, there were lots of other speakers at this event. There was probably a third of the audience was like speakers at this event, which is cool. So I didn't get a lot of business from it. I didn't get any business from it, right? So that was kind of listening. But I was like, I have this book. What I also knew is that you could use a book to promote yourself. So I manifested getting on this big radio show. It was syndicated in 8 markets. I knew other people who hadn't got on the show, but I just got like really clear. I set my intention. I cleared out anything that wasn't good. I did the process that I did then, which is just similar than what I do now. It's just more evolved now. And I did that whole process, and I got on the show, right? And it, again, syndicated in 8 markets, including my home, like Denver. It was like Denver, Kansas City, and there's Austin, and I think it was Portland and Seattle and maybe LA. And it was all over, right? I'm like, this is it. This is the golden ticket. Like I manifested getting on this radio show. I'm going to get so many clients. And here's what happened. I did the show. It was super fun. It was good. I was nervous, but it came out good. It was, and I got one book sale from that show. And again, like now I kind of know why from like a logical standpoint. I know what I could have done better in terms of interview and stuff like that. But the main reason why that wasn't successful is because my sole focus was on getting on that radio show. And I thought getting on that radio show was going to get me what I wanted, which was clients, which was going to get me out of my job, right? It's going to build this business that got me out of my job. But I wasn't focused on, and I talk about this all the time on the show, and this is the whole thing that Double Your Business is about. So I was focused on the wrong thing. I was focused on landing this big radio show deal, right? Because I thought it would get me where I wanted to go, instead of focusing and being clear about what I wanted my life to look like, where I was going. There was absolutely no GPS point. If you read Double Your Business, you know what I'm talking about, and I've talked about it in other episodes, there was zero GPS point about where I was headed at that moment, right? And it was just like, I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do this. And I was really good at manifesting. I was using all of my skills, all my visualization, all the stuff that I did to get lined up with what I wanted, what I thought I wanted, but I wasn't lined up with what I ultimately wanted. And that showed. I got on the radio show and I got no clients. Now, if I had, looking back and going back in time, if I had been focused on and I'd read Double Your Business, if I had my own book back then, I would have been doing things differently. And maybe I would have got on that show and maybe I wouldn't have. But what I would have got was clients, because that's what I wanted. I wanted to serve. I wanted to be sharing what I knew and what I learned and what I do with other people, and I wanted to be making the impact. But I was focused on the things I thought would get me there. I was doing the things that I, was just sure would, again, be the golden ticket. Like, this is going to open it all up. I'm going to be famous after this interview, and I'm going to have so many clients, and everything's going to be perfect, right? And so I manifested the interview. I got the interview, totally, and again, like, I know that I got that because of the work that I did, because like I said, other people who probably maybe should have gotten on the show didn't get on the show. But I know I was lined up with being on the show. And what I realized looking back when I looked at that, a couple years ago, that story is, I think it's in my book, Lifestyle Design for a Champagne Life, or maybe it's in Marketing to Serve, I don't know. But it's in one of them. And what I realized when I was writing that book and I thought about that story was that I wasn't focused on the end game. Not at all during that period was I focused on the GPS point. I wasn't focused on that life I wanted to be living at all. I was focused on getting there. I was focused on doing things I thought would get me there, even though I didn't know where there was. And so everything's changed now. I look at everything different. Because I do know where there is. And that's precisely why I didn't visualize being number one on Amazon. It didn't even cross my mind, because releasing Double Your Business is about serving people, and it's about ultimately, attracting the clients that want to work with me. That's what the book is, that's what it's about. It's about working with clients, because that fulfills my life and my dream life, right? So it's about attracting those clients that fit into my dream life, and that, I support them and they support my dream life. And in a way that, because it really is my dream life is about supporting clients. There's clients in it, right? There's not a version of my dream life where it's I win the lottery and I just don't have to work with anybody. Really my vision, my dream, and next level of I'm living that dream right now, but the continued dream is that there are more clients that I'm serving. And so that's my focus, is what does that life look like? Just like I talk about in Double Your Business, getting clear about what does that life look like? What is my future budget? Who am I? What does my life look like when I am living that life? And that's what my dream life looks like. So that's where my focus is always. Was it amazing to hit number one on Amazon? Abso-freaking-lutely. It was so fun. It was so exciting. I popped some champagne in a Facebook Live. That was super fun. That Facebook Live got viewed over 1,200 times the last time I looked, which is amazing. Like that's a new thing for me. But again, like my focus isn't, I want to have a Facebook Live that over 1,000 people see, because that doesn't get me what I want, what I truly want. It's not getting me that life. It might help, like on all of those things help. And especially I know they help now because they're all in alignment, because it was just a spur of the moment idea, like following my inspiration, or the whisper as I call it. I've begun to call it in my year-long group, just following the whisper that's like, hey, pop some champagne on a Facebook Live. So, that's become the focus and the whispers. So I know that those things are going to get me there. I know that Facebook Live is, bringing in more clients. I know that hitting number 1 on Amazon is bringing in more clients to fulfill the life I want to be living. But those were, things that I did that I followed whispers on, or things that happened because I was in alignment with where I'm going and who I'm becoming, like the next version of my dream life. And that's why all that happened. It's why I follow the whispers through the Facebook Live. It's why I hit number 1 on Amazon. It's not because I sat and I said, okay, like what would be amazing hitting number 1 on Amazon, right? Because I want that client, like what I really want is to impact more lives. And so that's my future life, is impacting more and more lives. And so, one way that's in alignment and gets, put into that is hitting number 1 on Amazon. So I wanted to share that story because I think it's so important, and it's important to realize because it's so easy, right? Like, I know a lot of people that I talk to have on their vision boards New York Times bestseller. And for me, so, like I said, like Manifest 10,000 can absolutely, it'll be eligible May 16th to, to even be in the thing that, I don't totally understand the process, but it's, the sales are now eligible to be considered for the New York Times bestseller list. And what's cool about that in where I am is that I'm super excited about that. Like that's exciting. Like that possibility is now, it's a reality, right? It's not just a possibility. It's like, before it was sort of like, now it's actually a possibility, I guess. Before it was just something that was like, ooh, that would be really cool someday. And at one point in my life, that's absolutely, before I learned what I learned about getting clear and heading in that direction, that's absolutely something I totally wanted. It's like, I want to be a New York Times bestseller, right? But now I know I want this life. And if that life happens without hitting New York Times bestseller, I'm 100% okay with that. If New York Times bestseller is a natural, for lack of a better word, consequence of me going for that life, which, I'll be honest, like I hope it is, then I'm 100% happy with that. But what is more important to me is that life. And so that's where I put my focus and my attention. And that's where I would encourage you to sort of do an audit about your focus. Is your focus on that life? And, is it on the life that you want, or is it on the how? My year-long people pointed this out one time that this was a really good quote. Somebody said, I'm putting this up on my wall, script the life, not the how, right? So scripting, I'm a New York Times bestseller is scripting the how versus scripting the life. It's how you think you're going to get there. There are tons of people who have amazing businesses and lives that don't have New York Times bestsellers. And so, I just wanted to speak to that a little bit because I know a lot of you listening, because I've talked to a lot of you and my clients over the years, that's something that's super important. And I think it's awesome and it's cool and it's such a cool thing to put on your vision board and be a dream. As long as it's sort of like this minor picture in the big picture of your life. And obviously you can put any picture on your vision board you want, but in terms of what I've learned and what I know is that the best and easiest way to get what you want is to focus on that life and to have that be your focus, not those steps along the way that you think are going to get you there. So that's what I have for you today. So excited. Just getting messages about Double Your Business. So much fun. I got a message the other day, and it's this woman. She's an awesome coach. She's been a coach for a long time. She's, coaches six-figure women and up, and multiple six figures. And she just said she was getting so much out of Double Your Business, and that she'd already done 3 significant things in terms of her future budget that she didn't realize why she hadn't done before. So just so excited that she shared that the book is making an impact. And just wanted to share that all with you. So if you haven't grabbed it yet, you can get it on Amazon. Today's mantra is, I stay focused on the life. I stay focused on the life. Go out and double your business, have fun, and create that life that you want to live. Have a fabulous day.
Thanks for joining us on the Happy Ever After show, where you don't need a genie lamp to get your wishes granted. Now that you're inspired and ready to take action, get yourself on the path to your happy ever after by scheduling a complimentary strategy session at createmyhappyeverafter.com.